Have you ever sat in a meeting, stayed professional, done everything right, and still felt like the person on the other side saw your time as disposable? Like your experience, your skills, your effort somehow counted for less than theirs. Most people don't talk about that moment. The moment when respect quietly disappears, not with shouting or insults, but with dismissive tones, interrupted sentences, and subtle arrogance. We're taught to be flexible, to be patient, to work it out, but no one really teaches us what to do when someone crosses the invisible line between collaboration and disrespect. This isn't a story about anger or revenge. It's a story about value, how easily it's questioned, how often it's ignored, and what happens when you finally decide to stop explaining your worth to people who benefit from pretending it doesn't exist. Because here's the truth most professionals learn the hard way. The moment someone starts negotiating your value instead of your work, the relationship is already broken. And today I want to walk you through a real experience that taught me something powerful. Never let someone else dictate your value. And never forget that if your work has value, so does theirs, but respect only exists when it goes both ways. There's a moment most professionals experience at least once in their lives. And it's hard to explain unless you felt it yourself. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. No one raises their voice, but something changes. You notice it in the way people speak to you, the way your input is brushed past, the way your time is suddenly treated as flexible, optional, or worse-free. At first, you question yourself. Maybe you're overthinking it. Maybe they're just stressed. Maybe this is just how things work now. But deep down, you know the truth. Respect has an invisible line, and once it's crossed, the relationship is never the same. This story begins with that line being crossed quietly during a simple Zoom meeting. No shouting, no insults, just dismissal. And dismissal, when it comes from people who rely on your expertise, is one of the clearest signals that they no longer see you as an equal. That moment forces a decision. Do you shrink yourself to maintain peace, or do you stand still and let the situation reveal itself? This wasn't a new client or a rushed agreement. This was a long-standing professional relationship built over years of consistent work, trust, and mutual respect. We had systems. We had history. Problems were solved efficiently, communication was clear, and expectations were understood. That kind of relationship doesn't happen overnight. It's built through reliability and results. And that's why changes are so noticeable when they happen. Over the past year, new personnel and management came in, and slowly, the tone shifted. Familiar faces disappeared. Decision-making became fragmented. The collaborative energy faded. This wasn't inherently bad change as part of business, but respect should be constant, regardless of who's in charge. Yet it became clear that the new structure didn't value continuity. Experience was treated as replaceable, not earned. Input was no longer sought proactively. Instead of partnership, there was distance. And distance, when combined with authority, often turns into entitlement. The foundation was still there, but the people standing on it no longer seemed to care how it was built. The turning point came during a Zoom meeting that should have been routine. A mistake had occurred, one that wasn't mine, but instead of addressing it professionally, one of the new hires chose dismissal over accountability. The tone was sharp. Interruptions replaced discussion. Questions were framed like accusations. There was no curiosity, only assumption. I stayed calm. I clarified facts. I corrected the error. But the damage was already done. Because professionalism isn't just about being right, it is about how you treat people when something goes wrong. That meeting revealed something important. Competence no longer mattered as much as control. And when control replaces respect, collaboration dies. After that call, communication slowed. I was consulted less. And honestly, that was fine. New management often reshapes workflows. But respect shouldn't be optional. Being excluded is one thing. Being dismissed is another. And that distinction matters more than people realize. Eventually, the same management that had grown distant reached out again. They needed help. A problem had surfaced, and they wanted my expertise to fix it. I listened. I assessed the situation. And I did what professionals do. I quoted 1 hour of my time. No inflated pricing. No emotional markup. Just a straightforward request. What came next said everything. Instead of agreeing or declining respectfully, they questioned how I tracked my time. They asked where my time was really going. They implied inefficiency without evidence. Then they refused to pay. This wasn't about money. It was about trust. When someone questions your integrity before they question the problem, they've already made their decision about your value. That was the moment clarity arrived. You don't argue with people who have already decided you're worth less. You stop engaging. So I went silent, not dramatically, not angrily, just silent. Silence is often misunderstood as avoidance, but sometimes it's the clearest boundary you can set. Over the next few months, the emails came 1 or 2 a week. The calls followed. Voicemails stacked up. The urgency increased. Nothing changed on my end. Silence forced reality to do the talking. When people are used to access, losing it feels like punishment, even when it's simply withdrawal. And that's when the power dynamic shifts. Not because you demanded anything, but because you stopped offering yourself to be questioned. Boundaries don't require explanations. They require consistency. And consistency is uncomfortable for people who benefit from overstepping. Eventually they escalated, social media searches. Attempts to regain attention through different channels. That door closed too. Then I sent an invoice not for the original issue but for a separate, long-established annual recurring license fee. A standard obligation, clear terms, clear consequences. I explained that non-payment would result in revocation. They refused to pay, but now desperation had replaced dismissal. They pleaded again about the original issue. There was still no response from me. Because by then, the lesson wasn't about fixing the problem. It was about honoring agreements. And when agreements aren't honored, access ends. Today, I revoked their license, calmly, professionally. No celebration, no announcement, just action. And they're still stuck with their original problem. This isn't revenge. It's consequence. They spent months avoiding a small, reasonable fee while wasting time, energy, and credibility. They chose conflict over cooperation, control over respect. And that choice carried a cost. The hardest lesson for many people to learn is that professionalism doesn't mean tolerance. It means standards. And standards only matter when they're enforced. The moral is simple. If you want someone's work, pay them. If you want respect, give it first. Never let someone else dictate your value, especially when they benefit from pretending you have none. Your time matters. Your experience matters. And walking away isn't weakness, it's clarity. Respect is always mutual, or it doesn't exist at all. At the end of the day, this story isn't about who won or who lost. It is about understanding something most people learn too late, that your value does not increase when someone finally needs you. And it does not decrease when someone chooses to dismiss you. Your worth exists whether it's acknowledged or not. The real choice is whether you protect it. Respecting your own work sets the standard for how others treat you. And the moment you compromise that standard, you teach people exactly how far they can go. Walking away isn't dramatic. It isn't emotional. Sometimes it's the most professional decision you can make. So remember this. Never beg to be valued, never argue to be respected, and never give your time to people who only recognize its importance once it's gone. If someone wants your work, they should pay for it. If they want access to you, they should honor you. Anything less is not collaboration. It's exploitation.